This finals is actually pretty important to me because as a player, I've never been to the LCS playoffs, and last split I got knocked out in semis. So I feel like playing these finals will prove that like I'm actually an LCS caliber player and not like, just under LCS level like everyone thinks. So it's just a way to prove myself.
Welcome back, League fans. A journey many players are trying to take from Academy, show the work that they have been able to build throughout the season. And we see Keith having almost had a chance at those spots. No, he has that, and he just has to resurface that LCS caliber play.
Yeah, I mean, for a lot of these guys, it's about kind of re-demonstrating themselves because I think there's this mindset that, like, once we've seen you in the LCS, that's who you are, that's who you're always going to be.
For sure.
And especially for players who have been around a while, that there's no more improvement to be had. But I think
Yep.
Golden Glue this split showed that he is someone who is continuing to improve and will not stop improving. He has a great mindset for it. And I think Keith is trying to show the same thing. You can say Svenskeren the same way now that he is splitting time, it feels like, with Blabber a little bit. And same with Fang, a guy who's been playing in the scene for actually a really long time, going all the way back to TIP.
And I think it's a big change overall in mentality. I always go back to knowing that EasyHoon and FLICKR switched all the time. It's one of literally the top scenarios we've seen it in work out. And then as more players become okay with that scenario of shared time, actually this composition is stronger if I'm with Svenskeren and you're with X. It just seems to work out more, and players becoming more in tune with it. Seems to work.
Yeah, and with CLG back on blues, or for the first time on blue side, excuse me, we see some differences in the bans coming through already. C9 is not playing chicken with, if you ban Galio, then I'll ban Akali. They just get rid of it right away. And this is kind of freeing up CLG a fair amount. Now, they not only don't need to ban Akali, but they don't need to potentially hold a ban for it either. So they get rid of the Kai'Sa and the Rakan and the Ryze. 3 things that have all done a lot of damage to them.
I mean, that's what picks and bans are for, right? I do not like X. Sometimes it's a little more straightforward than others. Ferris is going to be locked in for auto. That feels good in a very pressured game here as C9 are on game point. We'll see what they have for their 1 and 2.
Yeah, we'll have to see. The Varus pick is one that I think is very good for auto, but I didn't see it kind of take over that game. I think they were able to do a lot of nice stuff with it. They could do a lot of chain CC, but it did not feel like the deciding factor. So we'll see what else they can combo it with. Syndra is something that I'm interested to see where it goes in the draft, because it doesn't feel like a champion that has taken over a game, but also doesn't feel like there's any counters to it. And obviously last game, despite how much Golden Glue got shut down, still highest damage in the game.
Shiro back on Poppy. What is it, the Aatrox? It's been hovered.
I mean, we've seen Aatrox jungle and some other things.
It's like you used his sword way too much the first few weeks he was out. Now it's dull and nobody wants it.
Well, I think this is interesting if they actually, they don't do it. But I was going to say.
But it is interesting.
If you have a support that plays Poppy, and a jungler that plays Poppy, and a jungler that plays Aatrox, and a top laner that can play both, you actually could theoretically blind them in the 1-2 position, and then you're taking not only, you take both those picks, which are pretty strong. You also get to take away one of the counter picks that people play Poppy into Aatrox. So that's not the craziest thing I've ever saw, but I didn't really think they were going to do it.
So they already want Cho'Gath for Fallen Bandit. He's easy in the lane. He can take the ganks. He can get out of ganks. That'll be safe for them. Final round out pick here, looking for support. So might be looking at from the side of C9. Tom Kench finally gets some playtime in this series.
Yeah, it's actually Phil's most played champion over the course of the split. Back on it here, despite the nerfs, feeling like kind of defaulting to comfort a little bit, as well as with the Ashe locked in on the enemy side, want to be able to pick up whoever gets hit by that.
Go figure. Another Olaf game, 3 in a row, possibly for Svenskeren. 1 second left, and it will be 3rd time's a charm for the Olaf.
We were talking about maybe getting rid of it. CLG with those first 3 bans, I have a hard time saying that the Olaf deserves to be over any of those 3. And so you take it in the first round, and suddenly CLG, don't get a chance to ban it out in the second.
Yeah. It is weird, right? Because you come in saying, oh, that Olaf has to be on there. But wait, those are good picks. Like, damn, actually.
Those 3 champs did a lot in their wins, too.
How do you get to those power picks? That's what becomes so hard when you play a team like Cloud9 that has that versatility. We came in saying Trundle, Gragas, Sejuani, Kindred for Svenskeren, and here's the Olaf over and over again that we knew he played, just not like this in the series. Now to those bans, there's the Trundle that takes it away from Wiggly. He could go something a little bit more just aggressive early game now, as that LeBlanc is taken out. Still, the Sejuani on the board. It's the Gragas. There it is, taken off.
Yeah, like we were saying, the Gragas was something that looked really good for both players. Gragas did not quite work out for Wiggly last time around, but a lot of that was just how the fact that C9 was able to answer wherever he was going. It was pretty clearly the mid lane, and everyone kept fighting there. So yeah, they get rid of that one. The Trundle also makes sense into Olaf. It's a champion that, while it falls behind a little bit behind in tempo behind the Olaf, it still is able to become a much better tank in the mid to late game.
Take away thanks, Alistar. See what he throws down that bot lane. Keith loves the Skarner hover.
I don't know what that's about.
Maybe Flowers love.
Some people were talking about the Flowers buff when they cast their games. I think that was actually a CLG talking about that, though. It'll actually be Zillion.
Ooh.
Maybe in the mid lane, maybe in the bot lane, but that feels like a bot lane one.
Interesting. We usually see Jensen in hit on that Zillion. But like you said, could go either or. What is Tuesday going to put in his hands this game? Otto may select him that Syndra once again. They have a little bit more of escape with that Tahm Kench being able to help Syndra if Fallen Bandit stays more towards the back line. So more protection for his pick this game for Tuesday.
You know, we'll see what the jungler taken here is for CLG, because the Syndra was a pick that I was kind of identifying as something that's worked out pretty well for whoever gets their hands on it. You know, it's CLG who grab it blind. The LeBlanc pick, as we see. LeBlanc ban, excuse me, was kind of indicating potential one, as we see Fizz in the mid lane.
Nice.
Ooh, this is an old matchup.
Very old, very countered as well. Tuesday is going to have to pick and choose if he goes aggressive or if he's just ready to receive the aggressive and try to outplay that.
Yeah, so it is the Zillion going into the bot lane like we kind of thought. Able to deal with Tahm Kench not being the most aggressive support to lane against. And then we get this assassin matchup in the mid lane, where it looks like we're going to get a lot of attention there for the second game in a row.
Ooh, this is going to be great. Can you imagine how Tuesday has to deal with two things that can basically just get around all of his life-saving abilities, and they're going to be in your face as much as they can.
Right, and the fact that you have Wiggly on Graves, one of his best champions, but something that for the most part does not want to be heavy camping a lane early on.
Yeah, that's right.
Might have to do more babysitting in the early game than he really wants to do on that carry-oriented champion.
We will see how they play their hand. Westrice X Sojin leaving the players now to their own worth, their own mechanics, after they have given them the final bits of wisdom. And we're about to see it on to the Rift. Cloud9 Academy and CLG Academy. Wiggly focused. Tuesday. Phil looking across the team with Otto. There's Phil on your team, on your screen rather, and C9 prepping themselves to head into this one. Shiro's been on the same champion now for 3 games with that Olaf as well. Cloud9 are finding their stride here with this composition, and it could be game point in this Academy final matchup. We're about to be on to the Rift for game 4. Can Clowner Logic Gaming keep this series alive?
We'll have to see. C9 has gone for a very risky, aggressive approach to try and end this game or the series in game 4.
Yeah.
Wanting to potentially snowball through that mid lane, so it feels like for the second game in a row, our eyes are going to be glued to that matchup.
Few back to plays for the champions here, the players. Keith back on that Ashe, who said Shiro and Svenskeren feeling good on their picks of Poppy and Olaf. And now we have the Fizz coming in, the Zillion. So C9 really kind of going outside their box there to feel what plays comfortable still. And the Tahm Kench is finally on the board with Graves for CLG. So see if these picks
CLG finding multiple carry threats again. We've seen them try it with the GP here on the Graves for Wiggly, and you know, that's a potential bright spot if Tuesday does kind of get shut down a little bit with this counter pick. Maybe the fact that you have 2 marksmen in the back line with some good defensive tools, you can keep them up and alive. As Otto gets a bomb over the wall.
Hey!
But the mid lane matchup is one where, for the most part, that counter pick doesn't turn online for the first parts. As they go in for the ward, starting sweeper, Willie to bomb as a result. Usually what it is Syndra gets the push advantage and tries to harass the Fizz out through the first 6 levels, and it can be a little difficult to do that. I mean, not that difficult to do that, especially with the base damage buffs that came into your Q, rank 1, up 20 damage. I think that was around 814 or 815. So you're going to try and push him in, harass him, but then as soon as he gets 6, Fizz gets a long-range engage tool in his ultimate to start things off onto the immobile Syndra, and then when she's knocked in the air, guess what? She can't press E to stun you out of your dash in on her. And then if she ever tries to ult you, you're already on top of her. You have your E to disjoint that, and it becomes very difficult for the Syndra to get out of this all-in threat by the Fizz, let alone if you bring an unstoppable Olaf in there as well.
Those are the situations that really test your patience. You get another one out of a bad matchup like Katarina and Orianna. As the Orianna, you're like, I need to keep this ball in my head because I know he will do X. It's the same thing with Fizz. You're like, maybe he'll miss this one and I'll get the scatter. But no, he'll jump it. He'll keep going in, and it's hard to, not for these guys, but to wrap your head around that and keep that patience there all the time. There's the first push in as he gets golden glue low.
Yep, drops down to half HP, but like we said, this is expected. You know, if you accumulate a 10, 15 CS lead of Syndra through the first 5 levels, it's actually, for the Fizz player, often acceptable as long as I haven't died in the matchup.
Absolutely. Good aggression from Fang on that Zillion to keep brush control, even with the ward in there. I always feel like Zillions I play against can throw bombs farther. I don't know why. You're just like, I can never throw that far. How did you get that ice?
There is a little bit of snap range onto it where
that's true.
If you're a little off, it'll still just end up on top of them. If people can use that well, you actually extend the range, I think like 25 or 30 units about.
Very nice.
It's
Wiggly.
Ignorable.
I was going to say, you can see on the minimap that skull is still there for the red buff. He's like, wait, this shouldn't be gone. I'm on my first time around. He will go toe-to-toe with Svenskeren to start. Not a fight that either of them are going to finish. And I also like the Zillion pickup as well. I don't know if intentional, but it works out for that Syndra ultimate that takes a bit to come out. So you have a chance to say, oh, you're going to live. You won't fully go down.
Right, I mean, that's a pretty nice use case for it. You can also put it on the Olaf, so he can go run in there as crazy as he wants. You throw it on the Fizz, he gets back up and has his E back available to hop out of situations.
That's true, that extra cooldown.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of champions it works well with. This invade by Sven is a little ambitious, let's say. He will not have mid lane priority, and so Golden Glue is going to start moving over despite not having the pressure down.
Oh, he missed the undertow. Extra damage he was expecting, and Bramble Butt now actually healing up. They're going to be on a Tuesday. He has to flash out, but he's still in range of the full team. Eaten up by Phil by Devour. Wiggly very low now, and it looks like they are going to get first blood in the side of Cloud9.
He's alive!
To Keith. Svenskeren lives with sub 10 HP, and Cloud9 have all the vision they need to walk out safely.
I cannot believe Svenskeren lived through that invade. It was so aggressive. The Syndra versus Fizz matchup, we're talking about how the Syndra pushes in. Going for an invade when you don't have pressure is very risky, but they stalled it out in time and were able to wrap back around. And most critically, they brought the extra man. Keith actually showed up to make that a 4v3, and that is basically the only reason this is going to work out for them. You'll see they get the shove in the bot lane and collapse with the extra man. And so Tuesdays tunneled on this very low health Sven who had to smite for HP and does not realize Golden Glue is wrapping around behind him. Has to flash out. This forces Phil to flash in. Everyone is trying to get out of there. But with the extra man, you see Otto showing up just a little bit too late. And the fact that he went for the Q right then, maybe he could have snuck another auto onto Sven before he shot the Q. It's hard to say, but that looked like you calculated the damage correctly. It's so hard to nitpick when someone gets out with 1 HP like that.
So you got that kill coming in. It's almost a little late, too, with the heal from the kill of Wiggly going over to Svenskeren. It's like, bloop, a little bit of that just to keep yourself up. 5.5 minutes on the clock. And now we will see the lanes kind of resetting. A little bit of power towards that mid lane now with an assist to Golden Glue. Gets a ring for himself on top of some boots to keep himself moving. Maybe in the face of Tuesday. Here's Wiggly, though, for the 2v1. Nice jump over the wall. Getting that wide part as he gets the secondary hop over.
Yeah, since Fizz plays the early laning phase not very aggressive, like we were saying, mostly pushed in, you usually have your E up for the defensive tools, which actually makes it, despite the fact you have pressure in the lane, pretty hard to convert into anything early on other than some turret damage and maybe some invades and pressure around the jungle. But as we've already seen, that didn't quite work out for CLG. So C9 kind of overperforming in the early game for themselves.
For sure, a lot of that stuff working out. Well, you got to take it accordingly and not go too aggressive. So C9 also tempered in these engages to know when too much is too much to keep that lead. Good volleys into the wave here. Little Rangers focus onto Phil, and man, are they getting battered in this bot lane.
Yeah, that's one of the things about the Zillion into Tom Kench is, you know, a lot of time Tom Kench tries to pick people up and keep them out of damage, but the Zillion bomb stays on the target and will explode on them even inside his belly. So it really neutralizes one of the main things that Tom Kench likes to do in terms of picking people up out of damage. And that just makes it so Tahm Kench is basically a Q. He presses Q and that's all he can do.
The Heartburn lane. Not much you can do to get away from the damage in this one.
Oh,
Ooh,
God.
not much you can do to get away from a 4v2. Phil's gonna have to devour Otto at the perfect time, but then is just gonna lose his food if it's for too long. They both go down, and Golden Glue picks up the double.
And we're talking about snowballing the Syndra lane maybe, but instead he just dips on out of there and meets up with Svenskeren to blow the bot lane open, and I really like that decision. You had so much priority and pressure down there for so long. You sack a minion wave to basically accelerate your bot lane so fast.
That's the word I was going to use, acceleration. 15 minutes we still had a laning phase going on last game. We've already broken that just 7 minutes, 15 seconds in, and it's from this in the bot lane, 4v2.
It's such a great play. I mean, he lands the fish onto Phil, and then they focus down Otto. So even if Phil picks him up, he's gonna die in a half second anyways, and he won't go anywhere. Just by splitting the damage like that, sometimes you try to avoid that in a dive, but they had such a man advantage, it was actually a really good decision.
So the cleanup is a little bit safer, but see how much they actually keep the lane pressure down here. They won't move it just yet. Maybe too early as well for Keith and Fang. They say stay down. Mountain Drake is also a priority in this instance, so we won't switch as fast as I thought they were going to.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised to see this, but there is a long lane now for Otto and Phil, so they're going to have to play pretty safe. And potentially they're thinking with the Zillion and the Olaf, with Predator boots, if they're in a long lane, we can just run at them and try and kill them right away. So it does make the bot lane a little bit more uncomfortable versus if you flip up to the top side, maybe you get the turret faster, but there's no Rift Herald up there yet. So like you said, I think
that's a good point.
I think with the extra objective,
it was so fast. Can't do much else than be happy you got that gold. It was spent according to the little Cutlass. Over onto the side of Otto is facing up against a little bit more damage and full boots for Keith, so he can keep movement speed up and tagging you with those arrows. Tuesday over to blue as that's handed off nicely to the mid lane. 70 to 63 there, but the 2-0-1 roam of Golden Glue on the back of Svenskeren kind of leading these charges has just been very big. Svenskeren had kind of an off game one and just lit the fuse after that for the last three.
Yeah, really controlling the pace of the early game after Wiggly was able to get the advantage game one. And I mean, that's why Svenskeren's so good. He's been a veteran in the scene for so long. A game one that doesn't go his way will never phase this guy out of a series. Instantly bounces back and plays Olaf 3 games in a row, getting massive every single game. This time, not picking up the kills, but still being a lot of the catalyst for the plays.
It's almost nice, too. Olaf definitely doesn't need to just rack everything up. So if you're giving him the Golden Glue, Golden God is going to come through a lot faster.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's always nice to get a couple on the Olaf so you can press your R button and not need to worry because you got a little extra HP, but you don't want too many onto him.
Oh, man.
I can give 2 to my Fizz. That's pretty good.
Scuba gears on for CLG. They go for the double turret dive top side, pushing Shiro out. They're actually going to call Otto in. So, yeah, they'll do as much as they can to do damage bot side, but then flip it top when they know that C9 is also getting pushed on.
And using the double marksman to try and get in there. Shiro walking a little bit far forward, but he's 2 tanks are just messing with each other while the marksman push down turrets. Not a bad answer.
Oh, boy, the bait. Yep. Fish for Tom and Tuesday. Nice little denial there, but the pressure on the turret is still stands for Cloud9 in the mid lane. Gotta watch out for the bombs from Fang as he gets himself a bit of turret aggro early.
Yeah, Golden Glue, I didn't think was aware that Phil was cutting up behind the turret like that.
Oh, missile voyage. No, they're good.
Yeah, I just catch some minions. As this actual play might result in CLG also grabbing this Rift Herald. We'll see if they choose to collapse. Shiro wants to do something about it.
Privy to the information, he could slam Otto or Wiggly against that wall. Looks like he's going for the Keeper's Verdict. Deny Wiggly's smite would be perfect. Wiggly stays in range. That's going to go over to Counter Logic Gaming. Shiro tries his best.
Yeah, Fallen Bandit was in the top lane, runs all the way down with the help of Tahm Kench. Gets down to the bot lane, then TP's back top right away. That Cho'Gath is getting his steps in on his Fitbit.
Mr. Everywhere right now, 97 to 77, so he's taxing a bit as he moves around as well. He'll go ahead back down to bot lane. He's got a nice double or 1.5 waves to clear as they pile up. You see the gold around the map a little bit for the mid laners to spend as Tuesday just emptied his pockets and Golden Glue as well. So overall breathing moment as people refresh those wards, get ready to head back out on the map.
Yeah, we'll see where they go from here. Despite the counter pick in the mid lane, it feels like C9 and CLG's global pressure in map plays has kind of stalled out the counter pick for a moment, as there was so much focus around top lane turret trading and then objective play. So hasn't had a chance yet. In his last attempt, of course, Phil was right there. So still waiting for Golden Glue to find some pickoffs. But as turrets drop, that's still fine for Fizz. That's more map opened up for him to potentially find a kill.
Both supports coming up. Shouldn't be too bad. Fang actually flies with those Moby boots on. Gives himself a little bit of a wind up, and he could be anywhere. Pressure now onto the top.
Whoop.
Ooh, Chain of Corruption goes out. Wiggly says hello. Stopwatch is there, a flash out. There's that speed. Just zooming around as they're able to turn this one back on him. Keith with a quick volley. Really slowed the engage on that fight. Oh, 1-for-1 here. Mano a mano on the bot side. Shield goes out. And Fallen Bandit tries to shout back. Get the slow in. As Tuesday gets locked up. Golden Glue just on the outside. Chum the Water has been used. But they have the overall damage. He should live from one less heated shot. And they are not going to be able to get the kill on Tuesday. Fallen Bandit comes in as the bot lane fight is over, and there's no rotation from Shiro. Golden Glue looking for the blast cone, takes a moment to hit it, and now the time has been extended for execution, so he's going to have to get out fast somehow. He will be tagged, and he will go down. It looks like it's going to be a kill for Wiggly, I believe, was a last attack on this one. We'll have to find out on the phone.
Yeah, pretty sure it will go down to Wiggly. There it is.
Little dance.
Did have the red buff smite burn on him for a little bit, so even though he blast coned over and didn't take damage, he was still burning. So it did still go over, and that was a really weird situation that looked like a great play in the bot in the mid lane, punishing the fact that Wiggly was showing on a failed gank attempt on the top side that only got a flash out of Fang. Made you think that, like, okay, they're going to answer for Tuesday, but CLG got down to the mid lane fast enough to protect him, as well as the fact that Shiro, who had chased out Fallen Bandit, actually kind of just corralled him into where C9's mid lane attempt was going to exit. So that gave Fallen Bandit a free kill and a bit of a foothold back in this game. Gold lead stabilizing at 1,000.
It does have to feel good. You're fighting in the bot side and you see a fight you can take, but this feels not so good. You're fighting in the bot side and they see a fight they can take. Wiggly just on the end of Shiro. He puts himself on the wall. Got to be careful for end of the line, but he gets a push, and he actually gets a very nice push onto Fallen Bandit. The 1v1 now continues on the bot side as Tuesday gets 1v1 and soloed out by Golden Glue with the finish of his proto belt.
Ends up being a 2-for-1 overall across the map. Once the junglers show, Golden Glue goes aggressive again. You can see how easy it is for Fizz to get on top of the Syndra and force these plays down. Tuesday losing his flash that time. And, you know, good read by Wiggly on where Sven Skaren was going to go next. The fact that Fallen Bandit has just lost his flash and was in the long lane. But, oh, now it's Wiggly's turn to get caught out.
Oh, arrows to the back, arrows to the knee. Wiggly's down, and a buff refresh over to Keith on Ash.
Really nicely done there. As Wiggly getting a little too careless in the river, gets caught out of position. And that just hands some more gold over to Keith.
Looks like that was about to wear out. Get an activation onto Rift Herald. They're going to waltz this one as much as they can down mid lane. This C9's going to know where it is. Oh my God, Auto goes down immediately. What a quick play. I think I blinked for a second as Golden Glue's just a moment from going down, gets the Chrono Shift back up to life, and now he can enter back in with the team. They're trying to take down Shelly. Looks like she won't even make it to the turret. A kill on Sven Skaren, but they have stopped mid from going down.
Nice play by C9 there, kind of getting onto Auto, and even though it's a 1-for-1 trade, like you said, they stopped Shelly from being able to do anything. Fang missed his double bomb, so not quite able to find that extra kill on the Fallen Bandit. It's come up a little short a couple times for this, but for the most part, got the ultimate on Fizz, and CLG still dropped damage on him afterwards, allowing the revive to go off. Not sure they would have found a kill either way, so it didn't quite matter, but a nice fight started by C9 to stall out any potential mid-push from working out.
Fallen Bandit to bottom, now cleaning up. We'll see how this fight went down once again in the mid lane solo. Chum the Waters on the dash forward. So he's really just kind of mind gaming Tuesday. He's like, I'm not in distance, but I'm in distance. And here's fight number 2.
Yep, once again,
ooh, going chain.
Right onto Auto. He tries to get to the Tom Kench, but can't get devoured in time. And now they're in retreat mode. There's the first bomb. Second one goes a little wide up to the top, not getting able to get the stun. It looked like Shiro stopped Shelly's charge. I don't know if that does that. I also don't know where Shelly was charging to. That looked
I don't know if it's a charge. I think it was the wind-up swing where she's just angry and she's about to hit something in front of her unless she doesn't do that in the pit. But I thought that was a hit that she had out, and he was just, nope, the no to the name. Bot side, Fallen Bandit's gonna see a vision of Svenskeren. Quickly take out the pink board. Ocean Drake is next, as C9 does have the first Mountain Drake of this game, so not a huge priority. It looks like they do want to tango a little bit towards the spot side. Scuttle Crab will be grabbed by Svenskeren here. Should be good to go. CLG really wants to pressure this. They say this could be one of our ends. And C9 is a little bit spread out. CLG likes that.
See if CLG actually want to take this fight. It does feel like they're getting a little frustrated with the constant pick-off attempts that are happening around the map and would rather opt into a 5v5 team fight, which I can't really say feels like the wrong decision, because it feels like as long as Fizz gets isolated in the side lane and you're just kind of 1-3-1ing, it looks pretty good for C9, but it's an Ocean Drake and it doesn't feel like they actually want to fight over this, as we have yet to see an Infernal Drake this. Oh, Sniper!
Wiggly gets hit, can't do the quick draw outside of Steadfast Presence, but he can flash over the wall and get himself to safety with that blink. A nice arrow from Keith has been firing him off cooldown. Righteous Glory to start things off, but Fang is much faster on the Zillion.
Yeah, you think you're fast, but I'm faster. As Phil picks him up, gets him back out. Now the siege continues. Golden Glue looking for a dive.
Tuesday gets his. That stopwatch there.
Oh,
it is not, and Tuesday is deleted immediately. He takes a breath and goes down every time he is up on the rift. And he's had a hard time staying up, that's for sure. 8-4 now. 18.5 minutes in. Cloud9 continue with single picks over it. Oh my God! What a careless back by Wiggly. Cloud9 are just tearing CLG apart here. They do lose Golden Glue as they get a little too aggressive going forward, thinking CLG wasn't paying attention, but they were woken up by that play.
Yeah, a little over-aggressive there by Golden Glue. Wiggly backing behind the turret, commits a flash Q, and then E's a little early. It didn't feel like CLG was really reacting to him yet. We'll start off with the first one, which is a great play. Wraps around the side. I think that was a blind snipe, just kind of knew where he was going to be from the back off. Lands it, insta-kill, continues to drop some more damage down. Has the stopwatch to, or maybe that was the Zhonya's at that point, to dodge out on the Graves ultimate, and then wraps back around here. No one knows he's there. This is a really clever play to find an extra kill. But then the instant E here before anyone really reacts to him, and then there's the ultimate by Otto. Probably could have waited till he saw that. You know, either way, maybe he gets silenced by Fallen Bandit then. It was a cute attempt, did not quite work out as it allowed CLG to trade back after that.
You get that LeBlanc band coming in here because you don't want to get zeroed out, and you still have Golden Glue flanking you on Fizz. 100-0.
I mean, it's an interesting point in the meta where there's a lot of assassins, control mages, 1-3-1 champions that are all viable, and so it's kind of hard to hit an entire strategy.
It is.
And so, you know, you get rid of the first thing, and then, oh, he's on the Fizz, but it's still really good.
Yep, and he is using it to great effect. 5-2-2. And this time, much more solo. A lot of the Svenskeren help from the other games, and Golden Glue is feeling very strong and confident this game in his own play, going for Tuesday time and time again. A little bit of clearage here on the vision around the map as things take a breather. We come up on 20 minutes, and Baron spawns in the den.
Baron's sitting. Don't think they're going to go for it too quickly here. Their team comp not great for it. I believe the Rune King Ashe is, of course, a respectable damage source in neutral objectives, and they do have a Mountain Drake, but at only an item and a half, don't think she's going to be looking for that. And instead, they're going to be looking for plays in the side lane.
Quick hits on this. Should take Fallen Bandit quite a fight. They're going to get Abyssal Voyage to the bot side.
No, they're not.
A rotation from Keith coming in as well. Yeah, they decided out of that one, but they still may be in a fight. Phil puts himself very close to the wall, and he's forced to go that way, kind of keeping Wiggly alive and not drawing the rest of Cloud9 in. Wiggly stepping forward, however. What are they doing? A double bomb to come out, possibly. Wiggly's going to go down too, as CLG way overstepped their boundaries.
Yeah, not quite sure when to back off. Tuesday was fishing for a stun and couldn't find it. Wiggly might have been trying to posture forwards to support that play, but the stun didn't connect, and Wiggly was caught out, not backing off in time.
A crumple moment for CLG, one after the other, approaching the fight by just one by one, and not able to come away with any results here. A lot of patience and defense is going to have to be set up by CLG, Mark, if they want to keep going on this.
Yeah, it could have been the backhand heartbreaker of the series. In fact, that was a 4v5 as well. Golden Glue not doing anything, actually taking the top turret during that sequence. And it starts really nicely for C9. Gotta say, they find Fallen Bandit. CLG think they have the tools to collapse quickly, and it turns into a 3v2. But guess what? It's still a 2v1. They're kicked out of there, and they kill Fallen Bandit before they collapse. Now Keith and Fang with the speed up from Zillion actually have the inside track and get right onto Phil. They get the chance to see onto him. And then here's Tuesday and Wiggly potentially thinking about trying to find something. But once that stun misses, Wiggly's way too far forward by himself.
There was a misclick there. He was almost melee range auto attack for a Graves.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure if it was a mechanical flub, miscommunication, or just not realizing that how quickly they could turn back onto him.
It did look like Tuesday wanted in too. That communication seemed to be there.
Yeah, and Otto was kind of coming from the backside, so maybe they thought they could have taken it, but you know, either way, it all comes up
intense.
All comes up short. They lose 2 turrets for that, multiple kills, and expands the gold lead to 6,500.
Slowly now working that top side of the map. The bottom is objective free all the way to the inhibitor turret now. We'll see what kind of damage C9 can do as they rotate the vision and power towards this top side. Otto's trying to get mid pushed out just a little bit, as it might be fed in here by Shiro and Keith. And there's just so much on the plate for CLG to think about. It's going to have to be quite a big mistake from C9 to get their foot back in the door.
Yeah, I mean, you're basically hoping for a C9 throw at Baron. But we haven't really seen that this series. There's so much fighting going on in these games that most of these teams don't have to rely on clean Baron baits. The first time we saw that was actually in game 1 from CLG. And that actually came after a pickoff as well. So, you know, seeing how this series is going, seeing how C9 is playing, I doubt, you know, there's going to be a 5v5 attempt on the Baron.
A lot of damage from this SvenskRR build still coming out. Arrow comes
TP.
in, quick draw. Wiggly is just a homing pigeon for these arrows. I should say the homing spot for these arrows. And now it's a 3-man knockup coming in. Huge hit from Cloud9 as CLG cannot recuperate from this.
Whoa.
Piercing arrow goes back, nicely fired by Otto as he takes aim. And now they're looking for Shiro, who can take quite a bit of damage. Rotating back and forth into the fight with volleys. Keith keeps them at bay in a 2-for-1 in favor of Cloud9. It looks like they'll head towards Baron with SvenskRR still up to control that vision.
Gotta say, that was about a split second away from becoming a disaster for C9. Yeah. Tuesday still had his ult up, and Keith or Sven went forward a little more. They might not have got it. As a result, though, there is only Golden Glue down. They're gonna look at this Baron buff.
Unleashed powers up. Chain of Corruption is down. Piercing arrows being fired from the back, but Otto cannot get the autos in. That Hurricane needs to be close. He needs to be able to apply that damage, and he has SvenskRR in his face immediately. As well as Fang trying to get in and out. It is so hard to tiptoe around these fights for CLG. Cloud9 is not making it easy.
Yeah, Cloud9 didn't really have any turn tools left available. They dropped, whoa.
Hello.
This is an interesting teleport.
A little ambitious.
I think that was Phil with Unsealed Spellbook just swapping.
You're right.
For a
You're
second.
right, yeah, because his health is coming off cooldown now. Yeah. So Baron gets started. And it looks like they will pressure towards top. That TP is there for Fallen Bandit. Golden Glue is going to push Wiggly immediately. They say, no, you will not have smite chance. They turn this into a 70-30 right away, and CLG say, we are better off almost not fighting, but Cloud9 actually want to back off now too. Not enough vision on what's coming around. What is actually happening? C9 playing the ring around the rosy here as they hit Phil with the arrow. He could be going down first. Golden Glue now has Tuesday on the backside. Phil is forced to flash to be the defense and the meat wall. Golden Glue still finds his target as the back fight is on the top side of top lane. Shiro down to a sliver, staying alive, and he lives as the rest of the members of CounterLogic Gaming drop. What a ring around the rosy for Cloud9, playing the macro and the mechanic game against CounterLogic Gaming.
It was hard to see exactly what C9 was going for there.
It really was.
They turned off very early from the Baron buff after Golden Glue had already dropped his ultimate on the first flank attempt. I thought that was Golden Glue zoning for them to finish Baron. They actually canceled the Baron, then wrapped all the way back around onto CLG, who had moved into the river thinking that they could clear vision control. Either way, it works out as I think a 4-for-0 and a Baron buff for C9. So still got to be happy with how that turns out, but it was a very interesting situation. Golden Glue looks like he's on zoning duty, forcing Wiggly out of the fight, and I'm surprised to see them actually pull off here and stop the Baron buff. And then they wrap back around and they say, all right, well, they're way too far forward fighting for wards. Now I guess we can go. And so they fly back around on the backside, and here everyone's chunked out with nowhere to go. So once they're in this position, they're in trouble. It doesn't look like Phil knew Golden Glue was there, ends up flashing basically right into it. And Golden Glue stays on his target, like you said, realizing he wants to get rid of Tuesday. Gets that kill. The rest of the team's able to chase down everyone else. And Keith gets aggressive, wants Wiggly dead, gets them, and just barely missing out on stopping that recall off.
The pressure never ends. Back into the mid lane as we are now live, 18-6, 27 minutes in. Cloud9 continue to pressure down and suffocate CLG off of these turrets. The siege in the back cannon should be able to drop this if they don't have the pressure. They move on now to the inhibitor turrets, the last thing standing before CLG's Nexus.
See how they do. I mean, they have a lot of tools to get aggressive, and this feels like one of those games where C9 is going to try to dive one of these inhibitor turrets. If it fails, you should hopefully have just zoned them away from the turret so you can finish it. And if it succeeds, hopefully you can end the game.
No retaliation onto the turret. CLG know when they might have that upper hand, and without even seeing Golden Glue, they can't initiate. Now he's onto the bot side turret, just giving pressure to this cannon minion. How amazing. This is how much pressure they have, and this is what CLG has to consider.
Yeah, I talked about maybe needing to use some tools to take the turret down. Instead, they can just actually walk forward and take two inhibitors without having to commit any resources. CLG not putting up enough of a fight around these.
16-2, coming up towards the end of the split. Cloud9 stayed on top the entire time. CLG thought they could thwart that first place team, and they're trying their damnedest in the best of 5 series, but C9 have their eyes on the Nexus, have their eyes on the prize, and Cloud9 Academy will be your 2018 North American Academy League champions.
After a disappointing end to spring, C9 get their revenge in summer, grabbing the title for themselves and using Academy as a step up for the entire organization, being inarguably the best organization and the best 10-man roster available.
Yeah, that's the words I was going to use, the 10-man roster coming to fruition. Hardcore through Academy and in the LCS, and you're seeing a team that will be able to have a revolving door of awesome players more and more in the upcoming years. These guys put on a show here today.
Yeah, really no doubt in anyone's mind that they're going to walk away the best team in Academy. You know, people are joking about how this is basically an LCS team with so much talent on it.
It's true. It's true.
And, you know, they're able to take down CLG, who put up a really good fight. I mean,
absolutely.
They came in the playoffs and played really hot. They were able to take down TLA, who had got the better of them. They beat 100 Thieves, who had got the better of them. And they took first game against C9, but just couldn't quite finish it out.
Yeah, it becomes that veteran status of being able, as we said, to kind of what the analyst had said for Fallen Bandit, you get that out of a very good player, but a lot of the majority of C9's team has that mentality to not be taken back by too many small problems. And no, like Golden Glue, taken down 3 times in mid, his Syndra was, what, 3-1 and something just a few minutes later. It happens like that. And for Counterlogic Gaming, coming in, saying that they wanted to show and prove the effort that they put in this season, I think still happened regardless of their results.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of these guys who had, you know, we talked about in 2016 spring scouting or summer scouting ground, and then 2017 qualifiers, open qualifiers, got knocked out by University of Toronto, who a lot of those guys ended up on FlyQuest Academy. And so, you know, people were kind of critical of that CLG team back then, and mostly the same guys, 4 of the same guys now competing in the finals, have all had tremendous stories, but no, they ran into a brick wall in C9.
They really did. That man that was just on your screen, Keith, we heard from him just before this game 4 saying, you know, there's a caliber of LCS that I've shown before, and I know it's there, and I'm going to want to show that all the time. And I think he was able to do that a little bit more in this game. The arrows were on point. A lot of times we see an Ashe holding those arrows. The team's just not sure if they want to follow up, but they were coming out of the quiver, right out of the bow as soon as he could every time, and it really helped the team to put a lot of things on the front forward foot this
Yeah, it's a really impressive, just the draft, the team comp, all of it synergizing so well together, and then getting into the game and actually executing on that. The power picks of the Olaf and then the Fizz coming together for a clear snowball attempt in the mid lane, being able to use that to get the bot lane going as well, and never being gun shy. I mean, this team was always willing to decide, like, this is when we want to go in.
So Cloud9 takes Worlds. It's been a fantastic day.
Yeah, Academy World Champions.
Academy World Champions.
Gonna go out, celebrate.
Down.
There's no one better in the world in Academy for these guys, so they are hands down the best.
That's crazy. I'd celebrate with that.
Yeah.
But looking around across the rest of the team as well, Shiro on that Poppy fell into a groove. Looked really good. Was where he was needed when the team hit it, and actually absorbed quite a bit of damage. I gotta say, with a standout in Golden Glue, I think Svenskeren really showed up to what kind of was expected of him. Because at that level of play that he's been at, this kind of should be a walk in the park for him.
Yeah, I mean, this was a demonstration by Sven. I think he really carried games 2 and game 3. Game 4, he didn't have the score line to back it up, but like we said, a lot of the early plays were keyed off from the red buff invade. Seems like the dive was something that was probably more his decision. Working well together with the pressure as bot lane had all laning phase, and just super impressive by a lot of these guys.
I cannot wait to hear from the teams. It's going to be fantastic. So let's send it down to Avali, May, and the victorious bot lane.
Thanks, guys. Keith Fink, congratulations. First NA World Champions. Academy Worlds, that is. But Fang, what does this win mean to you?
I mean, feel pretty nice. Yeah, that's it.
Were you excited at all during the games?
Yeah, of course.
Of course. Well, Keith, you came into today saying that you wanted to prove that you were an LCS caliber player. Do you feel like you accomplished that with your play today?
Honestly, this year of Academy has been super. I've learned a lot from it. I feel like it was a challenge trying to, like, you know, pass the barrier between Academy and LCS. And honestly, I made a lot of questionable plays in every game, like jumping in Kaisa and killing myself. But honestly, I think that's what separates me from others.
And I think you need to give yourself a little bit of credit because you played with 3 different supports this split, including Fang. What was the transition like for you?
Honestly, it's it was kind of hard because I played with Zazul first, and I have to, like, spend time meshing with him in terms of synergy, and then that moved on to Smoothie, and then that moved on to Fang. So it's like having to start from square one, which each support with synergy was actually it was a challenge for sure.
And Fang, what was it like playing with him?
I mean, it's pretty easy for me because, like, we both Chinese. We just play like Chinese. And we just, like, playing good, I think.
That's perfect. Well, what was your integration to the team like?
I mean, like, I was straight from Echo Force. From, like, when I was there, we are, like, rank 1 LCS team. But, like, I get straight to C9. I just play for C9 Academy, but we still, like, rank 1. So it doesn't matter, like, which team I play. I just try my best.
Well, what's next for you?
Next, maybe LCS if I can. Yeah.
What about you, Keith?
Same plan as him.
Yeah.
Same plan? All right, next step, Real Worlds. But both of you guys, congratulations
Thank
again.
you.
And for more on the game, let's hear from the desk.
Thank you very much, Avali. Real Worlds? Excuse me. Whatever, you know, it's fine. We'll have another interview in a moment with Golden Glue and Svenskeren. But first, let's talk about game number 4, the one that closed the series out on Cloud9's side. We've got highlights to roll. It's going to be beautiful. We got a flex pick Zillion, though, to the Fizz counter pick. That was exciting. Speaking of, that's a fish.
Yeah, I actually really like that one because you throw it at the Tahm Kench. So now the Varus doesn't want to be near the Tahm Kench and because he might get knocked up. The TK has to eat him, though, and also hiding the animation of the R with the Q is something that we've seen Jensen do in the LCS. Obviously, Golden Glue is very familiar with that technique as well.
More sharks.
Feeding time.
Yeah, it seems like a bit of a Golden Glue montage
Weird.
on the Fizz. Definitely played it well this game.
Yeah, this time around, though, as he goes, oh, no, he's fine. He goes around the corner, and then the poor Zillion gets silenced, so Golden Glue dies.
Oh, but still, when I saw this, I was like, is he just going to go? Wiggly's going to get it.
Flash active Q. Probably W as well, but you know.
He's through.
And then Zillion's
Yeah,
silenced.
Zillion's silenced. Oh.
And he's silenced as well, I think, on the Fizz, so we can't zone his.
This one here, this one has no Golden Glue in sight.
No. But still more dead CLG members, so Cloud9's pretty good.
This game definitely felt like as the series went on, C9 was able to pick up momentum, and CLG lost whatever momentum they had by this game. It felt like they were...
The games got less close over time.
Yeah, CLG felt pretty defeated in this game. A lot of the plays they went for just seemed like they were, you know, taking some unnecessary risks. They were just playing a little loose, which is understandable in a best of series, but definitely just goes to show the strength of Cloud9.
This, I have a lot of like empathy for the position that Wiggly was in this game, because his mid laner is in a counter matchup where the Fizz is just going to keep trying to bop him. He doesn't have like reliable CC to go to that lane, and at the same time, that means that mid laner can go roam to other lanes and affect other parts of the map. And there's an Ashe on the other team that can just track you in the jungle. So no matter what he does, he's going to get spotted. They can play around it, and they have mid priority, which sucks so badly.
Also, if you remember, on that very first kill in the red jungle, Olaf got out with 1 HP after Ashe flash healed him.
And he died.
Meanwhile, his AD carry is chilling in lane farming. So
The teleport.
if I'm Wiggly, I'm not too happy about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one where also the Graves, it's more of a champion where like you try to use whatever advantage you can to like bully the jungle or like push people around. And when he gets behind and he gets tracked, like you feel really kind of useless as a champion. Like you aren't able to live out the Graves fantasy of blowing people up or being ahead of the curve.
Yeah, well, that's how that was, of course, 3-1 to Cloud9. And now for another interview, let's send it back to Avli for a word with Cloud9's mid and jungle.
Thanks, guys. Golden Glue, Sven Skirmishes, congratulations on the Academy Championships. What does winning the whole thing mean for you?
Yeah, I mean, I've never been to Worlds before, so it means everything. I've actually never even been in LCS playoffs, so it feels like quite the step to win Worlds so fast. But yeah, it feels amazing.
How about you?
I mean, it was like some fun games, so I'm just glad we were able to win.
And I mean, you guys have made incredible improvements both in Academy and LCS. So what has this entire split, the entire experience been like for you?
Honestly, it's been a really great learning experience because, like, going into the season, I wasn't expecting to get much LCS time, if any. And I think just how the split has gone, I've got to get a lot of experience on stage, which has helped me a lot. And yeah, it just feels great to be able to perform in playoff games.
Yeah, so I mean, being sub down and like sharing my spot has been quite a different experience for me because I was always a starter before. So now I'm just more appreciative of whenever I get to play on the real stage and just like try my hardest in the academy games to like get a chance to play on with the main team. So yeah, I mean, I'm just trying my hardest to keep improving and get a time to play on the stage.
So has Academy almost been a floor or a showcase for you to try to prove yourself?
I mean, our academy team is like, I'm good friends with all of them, so it's kind of like a pleasure to play with them. So I didn't really mind like stepping down really because we just have a lot of fun playing together and we're pretty good in terms of like academy strength. Like we're clearly #1. So it wasn't too bad and just trying to improve for like whatever the main team might need me.
And both of you guys are a part of that 7-man roster for Cloud9 going into semifinals this weekend. And I mean, is taking the entire Academy Championship, was this just practice for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, we've actually got to play a lot of BO5s on stage because we actually had a bye with the main team roster, so they haven't played any yet, and we've got to play 2 in a row. So I feel like it's been pretty good experience setting up for the LCS playoffs.
And there were a couple C9 fans in the audience today, but Golden Glow, I believe you had your absolute biggest fan in the audience, Golden Mom.
Yeah.
What's having that support like for you in a live event?
Yeah, I mean, it's like amazing. I've never been able to make it to playoffs, so to finally make it and have my mom come out and support me, it's a great feeling to win when she comes to. I'm glad I didn't lose. Yeah.
Is there anything you'd like to say to your mom?
Just thanks for coming. I love you, Mom. Yeah.
Well, guys, congratulations again on the win. Back to the desk.
Thank you very much, Afali. Yeah, great to see. It's
so
always
cute.
exciting when like parents come out and cheer the people on. Smith's dads, they're like almost every time, for example. I think it's just super awesome.
Yeah, league parents are the best.
Yeah, totally agree. I know my parents have come out to see me at like when like Worlds has been in California and stuff like that as well. So that's been pretty cool. It's been exciting. So either way, we've had a lot of great performances out of Cloud9 Academy in the final series, but we're going to go award Player of the Series to Golden Glue. Just heard from him, but he had some pretty stellar games so far in this one. There he is meditating, imagining all the pentakills he will get. It was 0, but at least he won the game.
Seeing all the fish being thrown.
Yeah.
Yep.
Visualize the fish. Be the fish as he throws it. But he had counterpick in only that last game. The 4 others, he blind picked the Akali. He went with the blind at Ryze. I believe the Syndra was also another one that he had to pick blind to the Yasuo. Sure, there were sometimes they covered it with bans, like the Ryze, but still, this was the only time that he had counterpick in the matchup. And even in the game where he played the Syndra and the Yasuo, that one I thought was fantastic because he soaked so much pressure, so many ganks, so many burn summoner spells, and he still did well in that game.
It's
up front of
really
the game.
Yeah, that's one of the things that, again, I feel like doesn't get enough recognition sometimes. Just the ability to play out a really bad matchup, but play it well. Because if you're playing a mid laner with no mobility against Gragas Yasuo, you're going to die. It's not if you die, it's you will die. Just how much are you going to make them work for it? How many flashes do you bait out? And how many ganks can you avoid? So definitely a very well-played series by Golden Glue. As you said, blind picking, so he allows his team to get counter picks. He's taking very good champs for his comp. Even in the game they lost, he started 3-0 on Akali, so played very well this series.
And he's been looking better and better. We were talking about his career where kind of subbed in for Dignitas. Skara originally had this big climb where it was kind of like, how good is this guy? And people kind of knew his level. And now it's showing that his level on Cloud9 is much higher than it was previously. And he seemed to have learned a lot this year and become a more complete player.
Yeah, it really is a guy who, like, he's been in the LCS, and every year it was a disappointment. It was like, he's
the
bottom
scrim
3.
god, right?
Sure, and sometimes you heard that, and you're like, okay, but he chokes on stage every time. He's been a bottom 3 mid laner pretty much every year he's played, up until now where I think he's actually really good. So it's been awesome to see him grow, awesome to see him do better. So with that, the first year of the Academy League comes to a close. Congratulations again to Cloud9 for the victory here today. But the end of Academy means the beginning of the road to the World Championships for the North American LCS teams. Tomorrow, the semifinals begin with Cloud9's LCS squad taking on TSM, and Sunday will feature Team Liquid versus 100 Thieves. Now, we heard it a little bit in the interview a second ago. Both Golden Glue and Svenskeren are rostered on the C9 playoff roster, the LCS playoff roster. We might see them tomorrow play again on the same stage.
Yeah.
That would be something.
Yeah?
Something.
You got your practice against Tuesday?
What are your thoughts on that? Like, do you think they would run them or they should run them? Or what's the situation that they should?
I don't think they would start them. I think that both Jensen and Blabber have looked super strong in all of Cloud9's recent wins. So I would really expect them to start with Jensen and Blabber. But maybe if it's not working out, if they're running into something they're not as familiar with, then pulling in Golden Glue and Sven could be really good.
It's going to be fun to watch for. Either way, it's going to be exciting. Now, if you are itching for more League of Legends right away, then stay tuned for the rebroadcast of this morning's European LCS semifinal between Schalke 04 and Team Vitality. Now, before we go, a special thank you to Midas for joining us on the desk. You are awesome as always. Thank you for being here. And now for myself, the casters, and the entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching. And we see you next season for more of the North American Academy League.
Like nobody. One guys and fist bump it, guys. Okay, guys, let's connect, guys.
Connect, bros.
Yeah.
All right.
Go. Too many times, but all good.
This is going to be bad for Cloud9 if they can't get the first kill and stop the damage from coming in. Otto stays alive with a few more hits, but he goes down finally to Keith, and they're going to lose Svenskeren as they turn it around. They are going to be able to take down Shiro immediately. They're standing and dancing in the cannon barrage coming in from Shiro as they continue to fight. A heroic entrance just to make it look good as CLG look to put the finishing touches on game 1. TP is going to come in. Obviously, Shiro can't be stopped as he comes through. Fallen Bandit only going to go for the cannon barrage. Phil very low, a few more shots, and he could go down. And there's the reckless swing from Svenskeren, Wiggly, and Otto down to 500 health combined. One last undertow, and he sinks Wiggly.
All right, new draft, new game. They're going to start. Let's get it.
But Wiggly instantly deleted. And now it's Tuesday getting the damages. His mono resource is low, and he can't even fight back. Phil is now going to go down. If you can take down one of the tankiest members in the first 3. Oh, the jumps away. They know Tristana can't get back into the fight quickly. Fallen Bandit, they don't want him to take off. Is that the initiation of the fight? The Bass brothers of Phil and Fallen Bandit could go down. Ooh, not much you can do to get away from a 4v2. Phil's going to have to devour Otto at the perfect time, but that is just going to lose his food. If it's for too long, they both go down. Over and oh my God! What a careless back by Wiggly. Cloud9 are just tearing CLG apart here. But C9 have their eyes on the Nexus, have their eyes on the prize, and Cloud9 Academy will be your 2018 North American Academy League champions.